I just bought Campa 10 years after it's released. I should have bought it earlier. Why did I buy it now? It looks complicated. The drive pedals connected to the input of Campa directly. Delay, reverb, and chorus connected to send and return Campa loop. Young people these days are smart enough to know how they are connected just by looking at them. So skip a detailed description of the signal chain. Today, I will tell you how to operate the compressor and how to use cali76. The compressor is also the most used pedal. People often use it without knowing how to use it. No wonder, Cali has 6 knobs. That's amazing. Don't worry about it, I will tell you how to use this properly. First of all, after understanding the meaning of each knobs, and then let's start with what compressor is. In is the input signal, out is the output signal. Dry means bypass signal. In other words, a signal that passes without going through the cali76. The dictionary definition of threshold is the point or level at which something begins or changes. Ratio is the relationship that exists between the size, number, or amount of two things, and that is often represented by two numbers. Example 1:1, 4:1, 8:1, etc. The meaning of compressor is to make something shorter or smaller. In a nutshell, a device that controls the dynamic range of an audio signal. This is the compressor. Let's make it easier to understand. The sound extends diagonally around the in-out axis. The part that exceeds the limit of this signal is called the peak level. Think of it as distortion or noise. If you set the threshold where you want, and the compressor compresses all signals passing through the threshold. For example, the sound is compressed to 8:1. The sound is compressed to match the ratio you want after passing the threshold. At this time, the ratio can be made as infinity to 1, which is called a limiter. The limiter means to out an infinity signal unconditionally to 1. For example, if you set the threshold to minus 0.3 dB, the entire volume is output to minus 0.3 dB unconditionally. The limiter is used for the mastering of a sound source. Come back to the compressor. The signal is lost by compression in an 8:1 ratio. You can increase the output level as much as you lose. If you don't have a compressor, the sound will spread out in a straight line and you will get a huge peak level as you turn up the output level. However, the signal is compressed after the set threshold and does not go over the peak level. This small sound goes up loudly and the loud sound is compressed that does not reach the peak and making the sound fattening. Make all the knobs left end. The release works in counterclockwise. Attack and release are very important, so I will explain them separately later. Cali76 is not responding. Turn up the input knob little by little and see when pedal works. Focus the red light on the pedal. At around the 9 o'clock input direction, the red light flashes orange and the signal begins to process. When the maximum input level, it responds just by brushing through the strings. Gradually raise the input level from 9 o'clock, looking for the section that starts to respond even with weak picking. It seems to be in the direction of about 12 o'clock.